Today's program was brought to you by the National Federation of Independent Business, the voice of small business.
Welcome everyone, Tim Thiesen Live, broadcasting from the palatial studios of Central Valley Talk here in the Tower District of Fresno. A beautiful, sunny, and partly cloudy day in the Central Valley. Hoping for some more rain soon. We are in desperate straits on this drought. This show is all about hope, growth, and prosperity. Any direction our government takes us other than that is always the wrong direction, and knowledge is what empowers us to make good decisions every day of our life, especially when we enter the ballot box, and we're going to be talking about that today a little bit here with my first guest. We want to thank the show sponsors today: National Federation of Independent Business, the Voice of Small Business, Citizens Against Lawsuit Abuse, and Horn Photo here in Fresno. Great folks down there for all your needs as far as cameras, video, photo archiving, and just a great group of people there ready and willing to help you. Without further ado, we're going to go to my first guest today, Marcelino Valdez, Jr. He is the regional vice chairman for the California Republican Party. Marcelino, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And what a year it has been, what a year it's going to be in politics all the way around, regardless of which side of the aisle you're on. And something very monumental happened last year is Marcelino jumped in to run for vice chair of the party representing the Central Valley, and he was successful. And it was kind of a rip-roaring time.
It was a good time.
Getting to that point, but in the Valley here, we need representation, and we're really finding that out at all levels, even within our political parties, whether it's Republican, Democrat, or wherever you're at, is the folks here in the Valley need to be heard from, and that is happening right now. Marcelino, you're the first representative from the Valley in a long time, and the first Hispanic also.
I believe so. To
represent our Valley here, and I think what I want to start off with is a lot of the perceptions that labels are put on Republicans as to how we're seen or presented by the liberal media, and that's really not the case. So I'm just going to let you roll with that.
Well, thank you, Tim. Thank you for the invitation. Yeah, it's interesting being. There's a few things that I bring to the table. One is being young. I think I'm the youngest on the board. Secondly, I'm also the only Hispanic on the board. So that brings a different dynamic. Also, having grown up here in the Central Valley, I have more of an ag background, so I'm able to bring that type of experience to the boardroom, voice up our concerns that we have here, and make sure that people from the Bay Area or from the LA region also understand what it means, agriculture means to our valley and the economy. But yeah, it's interesting a lot of the labels that get put out there, especially when I'm talking to my own friends or people that I grew up with and letting them know that I'm Republican. A lot of times they ask, why did you become Republican? You're not white, you're not old, you're not rich, which is typically the stereotype of what a Republican is. And I'll tell them, it's because of the values, what I believe in and what the Republican Party stands for. Interesting enough, when I go on and talk about what my values are, and I'll follow up with the question of, well, you tell me why you're Democrat. Oftentimes they can't tell me, which I find a bit of an opportunity, but at the same time, I find it to be rather disturbing that someone would vote for a party or a candidate not knowing exactly what they stand for or what their party believes in. And when I tell them what their party stands for, they're shocked. a lot of them are in denial. They say, no, that's not what the Democratic Party stands for. And so I have to educate them, but I look at it as an opportunity, something that I can bring to the table, firsthand experience, and share with them why I'm a Republican.
Absolutely, and that's a lot of what's going on though, and it's obvious there is in the major media there is a bias,
Right.
and it's a fact of life. I tell folks in the political things I'm involved in, it is a fact of life. We're going to have to deal with it. But I
Right.
saw a little segue here. I watched a video this morning. I hadn't seen it for a while, and it's called "Hello, My Name is Scott," and I forget his last name now, but anyway, he ended up wearing a name badge, and he's built a business. Everywhere he goes, he wears a name badge.
Really?
Yes, and it's just reaching out, and people become more friendly. And it's not a fancy badge. It's just a paper glue-on.
Like the kind when you go to a mixer?
When you go to a mixer, or you go to a convention or something
Right.
like that, and he wears one everywhere he goes, every day, and real dynamic about that. But he really developed a program for people to be able to reach out. And the quote that stuck out was, "Everybody is going to have a label, so you might as well be the one that picks the label."
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
Okay. Otherwise, you get categorized, and that's why, part of the mantra through Prop 14, that was a big argument there, was with the open primaries, well, we don't want labels anymore. Well, if you don't have a label, how are you going to define yourself?
Exactly.
What defines you as an individual? What defines you in your job? What defines you in your family? But then also, what's going to define you at the ballot box?
Right. And the labels, I think, help people know where the person stands. Again, you don't want to just hide behind the label. You got to speak the values that you have and speak on issues. What is your platform? Typically, when a candidate runs for office, as you and I both know, the first question they ask you is, why are you running? What do you stand for? And so you really have to have an answer, and it can't be a canned response. It really has to come from the heart, be genuine. And I think if you can portray why it is that you believe, whatever it is you believe, whether it be on initiatives or whether on why you believe in a party, you need to be able to explain from the heart why you believe that. And I think the gentleman Scott, maybe that's an opportunity. It's an invitation for him to get people to ask him, why are you wearing that? And it maybe starts a conversation. Maybe we should try that, around the city or around the county.
Yeah, and it's a great concept, but once again, we shy away from that kind of stuff. And so yeah, it starts conversation. People are friendlier to you. They just when you greet them and everything else, and it just And so he's built quite a series of self-help series around.
Where's he from?
He is from the East Coast, I believe.
Okay.
And so anyway, but I'll send you the clip of the video.
I'd love to see it.
It's really, really interesting, and there's a lot embedded in that, and through this whole labeling process, and I think a lot of it is people just need to be able to speak up. And you found out when you were running for office in 2010. I found out in 2010 also that everybody shares, especially in the Valley here, we share a tremendous amount in common.
Right.
And it's the little splinter issues that have a tendency to divide us. But we've been able to overcome that, too. And so I'm going to let you talk about a couple of wins that the Republicans were not supposed to have, and starting with Andy Vidak in the 16th District this last summer, and then now most recently in the San Diego mayor's race.
Right. And I think it's important to acknowledge that in any campaign, it starts with the right candidate. And with the Andy Vidak campaign, he was definitely the right candidate. He was the right person at the right time, and he stepped up, and he was able to overcome a huge deficit when it comes to voter registration advantage that the Democrats had. And so he was able to work hard and get people to see him as a candidate, not to look at him as a Republican or Democrat, just look at him as a person. And he was really able to hone in on those skills that he has naturally, which are to get people to talk to him. He didn't have to do it with a name badge. He's just one of those people that when you meet, you just want to talk to him. And for him, that was a huge advantage to be able to go out there and get people to really open up and share with him their experiences, what their challenges are. Which, when it comes down to it, a lot of us have the same challenges. A lot of us have the same goals, and that is to be able to work hard, to be able to provide for our families, to be safe, to provide for a great opportunity for education. And in his district, unfortunately, it's one of the poorest, just like Fresno County is. And so he was able to resonate his message with them, and that was a huge success. I think for the California Republican Party, that was a big shot in the arm to really reinvigorate the Republican Party throughout the state. Even though it was a Central Valley race that may, on paper, appear to only affect or impact the Valley, it had shockwaves throughout the state, and it energized not only the grassroots, but it energized the donors, which then we used that same success recently in the San Diego mayor's race. And now Kevin Faulconer is the first mayor or the only mayor in the large cities to be Republican.
Yes.
And so he's definitely got something to hang his hat on.
You betcha. Boy, and time is flying here, Marcelino. We've got the 1 minute warning is beeping on us. We do have our convention coming up,
We
so
do.
let's talk about that real quick. Next
Sure.
slide.
March 14th through the 16th in Burlingame. If you're interested in getting more information, we have a great lineup of speakers with Condoleezza Rice. We also have Pete Sessions, and RNC Chairman Rance Priebus is going to also be there. So go online to cagop.org. That's cagop.org, and get information, register online, and purchase your tickets.
Okay, very good. Thanks for stopping in
Thank
today.
you for having me.
Appreciate that, and 2014 is going to be an exciting year,
Absolutely.
especially here in Fresno County this year. So,
Absolutely.
Okay, folks, we're going to be right back after these messages.